morning, it's April 25th, and this is To My Liberal Friends. A long time ago, George Jones released a hit country song. The lyrics to the chorus went like this. Now the race is on, and here comes pride up the backstretch. Heartaches are going to the inside. My tears are holding back, they're trying not to fall. My heart's out of the running, true love scratched for another's sake. The race is on, and it looks like heartache, and the winner loses all. And that is what I thought of when Joe Biden finally announced that he's running for a second term. And the likely opponent at this juncture in time would be Donald Trump. The final line would apply to the American voting public where we lose all, no matter who the winner is. We now have two old men who for different reasons are inadequate to hold the job of President of the United States. Joe Biden is now 80 years old. He'll be 82 when the campaign is over, and should he win, he would be 86 if he lives long enough to finish a second term. So how many of you think he'll be in full control of his mental capacities at age 84, let alone 86? We hear him stumble over the most basic of responses. And on his trip to Ireland, his son Hunter Biden had to coach him on what he was supposed to do. Then we have Donald Trump. He's now 76 and would be 78 if he were to win a rematch with Joe Biden. That also means he would be in his 80s by the end of his term. There's no telling what might happen to him as he ages. Joe Biden has become the uncle who tells stories to everyone that are made up in some fantasy world. They have a small kernel of truth, but Uncle Joe has embellished them so much that everyone has to roll their eyes when he starts telling them. I've related some of his fantasy stories on this podcast in the past. We've all heard them, and he repeats them at every family gathering because these are things that he remembers. He also has to try and make himself a part of every major movement in the past. Joe was arrested with Nelson Mandela, but then he wasn't. Joe went to black church as a young man, but then he did not. Joe rode the Amtrak train with Angelo, the conductor, even after Angelo had retired and died. And these tales go on and on. Donald Trump is the mean uncle who comes to dinner and complains about everything and insults everyone sitting at the table. He tells the rest of the family about his accomplishments and how they were bigger and better than anyone else. And if you question him, he gets angry and tells everyone how dumb you are and how smart he is. He's also the uncle you keep all the nieces away from. Donald Trump tells us that more people came to his inauguration than at Obama's inauguration, except that's not even close to being true. Donald Trump tells everyone how wealthy he is and forgets to tell us that he's declared bankruptcy in the past and left others holding the bag. There's another scary problem facing us as well. If Joe Biden were to win and keep Kamala Harris on the ticket, and I'm not sure how he can dump her without being called a racist and misogynist, then she would remain first in line to the presidency should something happen to Joe. Can you imagine her as president? The laughing and cackling would be mocked around the world. This is a woman that has made more gaffes than Biden, and that's saying something. This past week, when talking about the abortion pill, she told the interviewer that it had been approved by the Federal Drug Administration. Well, that's a new agency that only she's heard of. The correct agency would have been the Federal Food and Drug Administration. And I'm betting her staff cringed when she blurted out that comment, showing her complete lack of preparation and knowledge. And we all remember when she explained the Russian invasion of Ukraine. When asked to do it in layman's terms, speaking very slowly, Harris began. So, Ukraine is a country in Europe. It exists next to another country called Russia. Russia is a bigger country. Russia is a powerful country. Russia decided to invade a smaller country called Ukraine. So basically, that's wrong, and it goes against everything that we stand for. End quote. You gotta laugh. But not to worry, this was not the first time Vice President Harris demonstrated her knowledge of European affairs. When meeting with reporters at the Munich Security Conference in Germany, the Vice President was criticized for stating that Europe had enjoyed peace and security since the end of World War II. Apparently forgetting Soviet incursions into Hungary and Czechoslovakia during the Cold War, the Balkan civil wars of the 1990s, and Russia's campaign in Chechnya, Georgia, and now Ukraine under President Putin. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is the state of our political system. Two aging men are vying for the leader of the nation and the free world, and should one win and not be able to finish, we would be left with a complete idiot. I don't know who Donald Trump would select as his running mate should he win the nomination. Certainly not Mike Pence, who he blamed for the January 6 riots because Pence would not decertify the election results. Not Nikki Haley, who he's trashed after she announced she was running. For sure not Ron DeSantis, the governor of Florida. And being honest, no sane politician would want to be standing next to Trump because of his mercurial temper. I'm to the point where I wish the voters of both parties would rebel and say enough is enough. Go home, you two old fools. We need younger and better leadership. If not, well, the stanza of the song is true. The winner loses all, and we're the winners losing everything. This has been To My Liberal Friends. Thanks for listening. If you enjoy the podcast, hit the subscription button and recommend it to your friends.